Subhash Chandra Bose's grandnephew took up allegations of snooping with Prime Minister Modi in Berlin. The freedom fighters' family held a big rally in Kolkata today, demanding declassification of all files on Subhash Bose. Remember, the story first came to light after the India Today group published declassified intelligence bureau reports which showed how the Nehru government had spied on Bose's family for 20 years.
On the streets of Kolkata, the family members
no amount of civil disobedience.
I want to go across now live to Berlin. Joining us from there is Surya Bose, the grandnephew of Subhash Chandra Bose. So welcome to the newsroom. And I want you to begin by explaining to our viewers, sir, what happened in this meeting that you had with the Prime Minister and how satisfied are you by what Prime Minister Modi told you, sir?
Well, we had a very cordial meeting last evening in Berlin. And I must say I was quite, I wasn't too sure how our meeting would go on, but I was very pleasantly surprised that we really got along very well and we could discuss these critical issues on a very pleasant and cordial level. I told him about the surveillance issue, which is now absolutely volatile, and also the declassification of files which several different organizations, including the family, have been building up a momentum over the last couple of years. So we promised that he would certainly look into it personally and try and help us as much.
Sir, but the Prime Minister's promise seems to be at variance with an RTI query that was put to his office, as I'm sure you know, because in that the Prime Minister's office responded by saying that they could not declassify secret files relating to Netaji because disclosure would prejudicially affect relations with foreign countries. Now, this is what the Prime Minister's office has said on record. You're saying that the Prime Minister promised you to look into the declassification issue?
The Prime Minister's office said it, but you know, Government of India over the last so many years does not always work the way you want it. But the Prime Minister certainly had a different opinion about the whole issue. And he is going to look into it. Several things happen. I mean, I'm not going into the mechanism of how the government works, because this government has been the doing of the Congress government over the last 90% of the time that any government has ruled after independence. So to restructure the entire infrastructure of this government, Prime Minister Modi will certainly need some time to do it. But I am quite confident that he will, because you see, I have been very skeptical of any government that was in place. But this time, I think I have hopes. I am optimistic, and our discussion went off very well. We touched upon several issues relating to Netaji, and also the attitude of the previous government of India regarding Netaji, you know, including the Netaji in the curriculum of all the Indology institutions in Germany. The government of India were not willing to support that. In fact, they wanted to deny visas to all those German professors if they were going to include Subhash Bose in the curriculum, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. Now that attitude is no longer there.
So where does the Prime Minister see Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose in the firmament of Indian freedom fighters, and how do you think he will be able to redress some of the problems that have been built up over the past 6 decades, sir?
Because you see, he doesn't have the hang-ups of the Congress government where they wanted to at all costs save the reputation of Jawaharlal Nehru. Now, that a problem Prime Minister Modi does not have. So he is definitely more open to propagating the real history of India, the real history of Indian freedom struggle. And I really hope, because he is also a great admirer of Subhash Bose, and that is why I'm hoping that history will be written as it should be, because what the previous government, or the previous Congress-run government have propagated abroad, I mean in India, of course they have done, but abroad people think that India's independence was won only through non-violence and non-cooperation of Gandhiji, and no one else played any role in the freedom struggle of India.
So, but how do you respond to the principal reason that has supposedly been holding back Congress, BJP and Janata Parivar governments from declassifying the Netaji files, which is that especially with Britain and Russia, there would be an impact on India's relations with these countries, and which is why previous governments have held back, and that's the position that the Modi government has taken before now.
Now, you have said these countries, you've mentioned just USSR, the former USSR and UK, but they have not mentioned, the Manmohan Singh government also did not mention which countries. It's a friendly nation. Now, it is, first of all, we've got to know which are these friendly nations. Secondly, I mean, the statement is very vague, because, you know, I don't think they really went into detail into what these files contain. They may have just had a cursory look at some of them. So till we have seen the files, we really don't know whether there's anything useful in there. But it's interesting. Prime Minister Modi asked me what the family would say if there's some adverse information comes out. Now, I told him that Netaji's family is not just his direct family, the whole country is his family. And I think we are all, including the entire population of India, is mature enough today to take that on. I mean, it does not really matter. We have tried to fight for declassification. So even if this declassification of the files means some adverse information, we are willing to take it.
And you do know that it was an India Today story done by our group that actually led to this entire crescendo building up in the way that it has. Because we're the ones who put out that story last week, which has led to this new momentum building up, sir.
I know. Hats off to you, and I think you've done a fantastic job. So it's an effort put in by several people, and I must also mention my friend Anuj Dhar's name here. He really did a lot of work over the years.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's an effort of several people, several organizations that has built up this momentum, and I suppose you really blew the thing.
Well, Mr. Surya Bose, this is one of the darkest mysteries of modern Indian politics, and we do hope that this entire momentum actually leads to this big mystery finally being unraveled. Thank you very much for joining us. A new hope being held out by the Prime Minister for all fans and followers of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Thank you very much. So this is an important chapter of India's freedom movement, and the people of India have the right to know what happened to the great Netaji.